So today was a trend day in the market. So we're going to talk about identifying the trend days. What is a trend day? And everything was running, right? And then how do you know what sector is strong, what sector is hard? So we're going to talk about how to identify those opportunities in the pre-market. So what exactly is a trend day? So trend day is when everything, each sector is running, SPY is running, QQQs are running, IWM is running, and Dow Jones is running. So basically all the sectors are running, all the indices are running. And when I say running, that means the indices after 10 a.m. they are making continuous new highs, right? If they're breaking that pre-market highs, breaking yesterday highs, then it's a trend day, right? So that's why we were long on the SPY. QQQ was a chop, but QQQ joined the fun right at 10 a.m. You can see here, and then at 10:30 QQQ joined the fun as well. So it started to break out of the pre-market highs, yesterday highs. It was a trend day from MTF to the MTF. So MTF magnet to the MTF. So if you see that every sector was hot today, AI sector, Neo Cloud, Solars. This is our Tanner research. If you look here, photonics, drones, nuclear, mostly all the sectors were super hot. Banks, defense, Mag 7, everything was super hot. But remember, you've got to analyze in the pre-market. So how to find those hot names? So what I do in the pre-market usually is, I'll show you here. I have a group of all the sectors here. Let me, show you here. Even if I go to my TANET research watch list, you can see that I have grouped everything separately. AI infrastructure, AI ecosystem. I have Mag 7s, NVIDIA suppliers. So when I go through that in the pre-market and I see that some of the sectors are red. This morning, semiconductors were red, SOXL was red, QQQ was red, but the Mag 7s were green. When Mag 7 was mostly green. So that's why I found out that this sector is the first one to long. Of course, after 10 a.m. everything started to run, and we had planned for everything. That's why in our room we had 76% traders green, only 12% traders were red, and there's no surprise there, because when there's a trend day, you make money. It's any stock you pick up, you make money, right? But how do you find that, where to focus on? So let me show you what I did in the pre-market. So in the pre-market, I told the traders, watching the Magnificent Seven, Apple, Google, Amazon, Meta, if the money rotates there, they are really, really good setups, really nice setups. And right at the open, I told the traders, Google is one of the strongest name, Mag 7 is the strongest name, Mag 7 super duper strong, Microsoft super duper strong, Google strong, Amazon, Google, Meta, all are the strong breakouts. Right, so right away we were long there because we already had a pre-market plan. My traders are not waiting on me. They're already long on these names. We have the plan on each setup there. Amazon, Meta, Google, Microsoft long. You can pause the screen and see Microsoft long over, over 3450. Bullish bias to long on Google. Amazon bullish bias to long over PDH. So we had a plan for all those plays. So as soon as the market opened, what do I tell my traders? I tell my traders you can see the timestamp guide. Google, Amazon are the better longs. Google, Amazon, Meta are the breakout longs. And as I mentioned in the pre-market, Magnificent Seven, great setups, right? And also gave the pre-market planning. I was on the voice. My traders were long. From there on, I only had to give the targets. I gave the targets on Microsoft. Let's look at Microsoft. I gave the target 490, 491, and you see that target I gave was in the morning. We got a pullback. We hit that 491, 492 as well on the Microsoft. Then from Meta, we were long on the Meta, 512 calls on Meta. I gave the target 585 on Meta. We hit that. Then I told the traders that 600 magnet. You can see that 585, 590 target, then 600 magnet. You got this pullback to add as well. This is a nice little pullback. And you can see the timestamps, 934. I showed you the pre-market timestamp. I showed you the pre-market planning. And you just focus on those names. Meta, Google, Microsoft, they were all top plays. I haven't tweeted about that as well. They had a lot of strength. They had a lot of strength, a lot of relative strength. Mag 7, Google, Amazon, Meta. So they were good plays in the community. Now you watch the sectors, right? It's a trend day. SPY is already breaking out. You already see that SPY is breaking out. Let me see if I can show you something here. So SPY is already breaking out. You already know that SPY is breaking out of that pre-market level. But QQQ, if you see carefully, the QQQ was behind. SPY was already breaking out. QQQ was behind. And I told the traders, watch SOXL, because if SOXL breaks, then we gonna see the push there. I told the traders, watch Nvidia 200 breakout. So Nvidia 200 breakout. So you see that 200 MTF to MTF, and that pushed QQQs, and from there all your semiconductors names started to push. You take any names, BE, AAOI, the strongest ones over, of course, the NBIS and IREN. I even tweeted about it, because what I noticed was, while the other names were not pushing, but these names were pushing already. So we already know Mag 7 is strong. We already know we are going into a trend day. VIX is weak. So I told the traders in the community to long the setups, NBS, Core Weave, IRN, relative strength. IRN is also 1 hour MTF. A lot of 1 hour MTF setups, long on Nvidia, 1 hour MTF setups. IRN went from the MTF setup, beautiful long there. You could see MTF to MTF. Then we had Tesla. You can see MTF long, no hindsight, MTF long, because you have to be prepared. You have to continuously watch the sectors, right? Watch the QQQs, watch the SOXLs. We have not had a day like this in a long time, right? And when you see anything which is lagging, like Tesla was lagging, Tesla was a beautiful trade there as well. You could see that Tesla was bouncing from the MTF clouds. I gave the Tesla MTF longs in the community, and then once it pulled back to this pre-market level, I told the traders you can buy this pullback right here. I said 315 dip, nice long, 313.50 your stops. You buy here, you take it all the way to 323. So any name, because I have the full list that I track all day, what is long, you could see SOXL, late bloomer. Okay, SOXL joined the party late. You need to know that. That's why we were trading the Mag 7s initially. But once SOXL joined the party, everything ran, right? Everything ran, all on our game plan. You see my top day to plan. BE was one of our top plays. AAOI, Core Weave, Marvell, Reddit, one of our top earning plays. So they were all pretty good. So that's how you find, you analyze in the pre-market what sectors are gapping up more, which sector is more. You focus on that, divide your playlist, make a trading view groupings, make them different groups, look at them in the pre-market and identify the hot sectors so that you could be ready for those hot setups at the open. Continuously analyze if the semiconductors are behind or ahead. If SPY is pushing, QQQ is pushing, then SOXL starts to push, then you long those AI and semiconductor names so that you can capitalize on a trend day like this. That's how we had an insane day in the community today. So hopefully you can prepare like this tomorrow morning. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.